you mentioned Mika and Kreider. They were making those plays early in the season. They just weren't hitting. It was only a matter of time when it was going to start happening, and it showed last night. And you love to see it. I think I also mentioned on the last time I was on the podcast about moving Kreider off that line with Mika as much as they got that bromance and they've been together so long, and it ended up working. You get Kreider and Trocheck down on that third line, they're starting to build some chemistry. And maybe the Rangers make an acquisition where they grab a guy at the deadline to go on that top line, whether it's Meyer, Kane, Tarasenko, you want to name it. And then VC goes down there, and the relationship VC has with Trocheck. They've been playing together since they were peewees. So the chemistry could start clicking at the end of March. It's definitely doing it now, and it could even get better as the season goes on. But like you mentioned, Halak, man, he's been so good, and it takes a while, especially with these guys so good. They feed off the tendencies of goaltenders. They've been playing with Igor so long now that they know, he's going to come out and play the puck. They know what he does. And when you get a new goalie, it's an adjustment period. And I think they've finally adjusted, and Halak looks great, and they look comfortable in front of him, and they know they can take chances now because he's made some big saves. He's had some big games on this 6-game heater. So everything's clicking right for this team, and I'm really excited to see what they do at the deadline and what's next for them as this big stretch comes for them.
Would you say now that, Harper's our glorified third line defenseman that trade deadline, it's got to be first line right winger, right? That's the number one priority to address.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Vesey looks great there, and he's a great player. I just still think they know that they need to fill that hole. They're not putting someone there permanent right now. They've mixed and matched with Kako, but it seems like the kid line's clicking, so they left him down there, and they're just putting different guys in that spot to fill the void until the trade deadline comes. It's clear as day. You're not going to have a 800K player, right wing to start the playoffs on your first line. I just don't think that's going to happen. As great as Jimmy Vesey's been, and I think he's going to be a huge asset down the road for us, no doubt. But they are going to for sure grab someone at the deadline, whoever it may be. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to speculate. I was just going to say, because maybe Gallant really wants to keep that kid line together going forward, where that's maybe the reason why he hasn't been keeping Kako up there, because he's looked fine up there up front. He's been getting good play, good time. But like you said, it's been a revolving door. So to me, the glaring position to address during the trade deadline would be the first line right winger. And then maybe in the future, that kid line jumps up to be the whole second line. We've talked
Yeah,
briefly about it. So,
absolutely. If anything, they deserve more ice time. They've been putting pucks in the net, and they look really good out there. Every shift they take, I don't really see any bad side to it. They're good with the puck. They're smart. They're getting smarter with the puck. They're putting pucks on net. Lafreniere looked good last night. It's just a total of all the more they play with each other, the better they're going to get, and the older they get, and the more experience they're going to get. And it was huge for them to get that playoff experience last year, and it's only going to help them going down the stretch this year.
I think the chemistry was on display last night. I mean, just the bank pass where Kako carries the puck out of the zone. You can see a little bit of chemistry from Lindgren and Fox, knowing that they were just two 10-foot passes away from a breakout. And Kako kind of making that, very similar to the way that Mika and Kreider can read off each other, making that cute little bank pass to spring Hedel, where the defender kind of gets lost for a second. Hedel turns on the Jets and knows that he has, a wide open opportunity. And that was on display. I felt like Laff had plenty of opportunities. You can always kind of see him kind of fight back and forth between, do I make this cute pass to the center or do I take the shot? And there's a few times last night where we want him to take the shot. There's a few times last night where he's trying to set up his line mates. And it's just so poetic the way it works out that Hedel starts us off nice and strong. Kako had a great game. Laff looked great the whole time, and then he finally gets to cash in. That, even though Philip Hedel took the show a little bit, I felt like the full kid line was on display last night, and they're really starting to come into their own. And I would love if they could see more of that extended time. It really does speak to the coach's confidence that we saw a little bit of second line power play time with about a minute plus left to play. So we can see a little bit more of an equitable distribution of the line time there, in addition to how confident can you be in a player when, it's the last few minutes of the game and going into overtime, and those are the guys that you have on the ice. So I think that Girard is slowly starting to build that confidence in them as well.